How are you?
Good.
All right, so let's talk.
So, you say that the black people don't know the national anthem, anything?
No.
Okay, so do you live in the United States?
Say again?
Do you live in the United States?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me 1 second, though. Hold on.
No problem.
Okay.
All right. So you say the black people don't know the national anthem, anything. Why is that?
Yeah. Because I don't stand for the national anthem. I've never stood for it, even before Kaepernick, because of the lyrics in it. If you go by the second stanza, that nobody likes to sing because it's very racist, it talks about no refuge for the Negro. That there'll never be refuge for the Negro. That the only thing the Negro can have is the grave. And that's why I've never stood for it.
When is it ever? I've never heard it said. I've never heard that saying during the national
Yeah,
anthem.
because it's a racist part of the anthem.
I've never heard that in the national anthem ever.
Yeah, that's because they don't sing it. If you look up the lyrics of it, and look at the third stanza.
I'm going to go look up the lyrics really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what you have to be aware of, though, is that the national anthem was written back in a time whenever African Americans, and it would say the same thing about...
Exactly. So, that's why I'm not going to stand for it.
I've never heard that.
A lot of people don't know that. But the third stanza is a very, very racist, line in it. That's why you don't owe it I don't owe it anything. I'll never owe it anything. Black people don't owe it anything.
That's not true.
I mean,
so you live in the United States, though. You live in the United States, though, and you're protected.
Yes, I am.
By people who fight for the national anthem.
Yeah, they do. They do, and they fight for my right to sit or stand. That's why we're not in North Korea. That's why
They don't fight for your right to sit or stand. They fight for your right to have the freedom of speech. But what they ask is that you respect what they stand for.
But that's the thing, though. That's the thing. I'm not forced to respect it. I don't respect it. I'm not going to respect it. I respect their service, but their service is to make sure that we don't have an oppressive government that says, okay, well, you have to stand for it. This is North Korea. You have to stand for it. You have to respect the government. You have to respect somebody who oppresses you. I don't. They protect that right, that I can say what I want and make a statement about how I feel that, that society treats people who are other. And I'm going to make that statement, and they fight for that statement. They don't fight so that everybody can just have the same opinion about everything. They fight for difference of opinion and freedom of speech.
They fight for the freedom of the country, and that's what they ask, is that you respect stuff like the American flag, which they fight for.
Well, I mean, not standing is disrespect. I don't think that's disrespecting them, because it's really not about them, because they fight for my right, like I said before,
They fight for your right to freedom of speech, but you're not supposed to be taking that for granted. You're taking it for granted.
That's why I exercise it. I don't take that for granted.
Whenever you sit down for the Pledge of Allegiance, or you sit down for the national anthem, is that something that represents the people who serve this country? Like both of my grandparents and my older brother, and I find that very disrespectful, and they do too, in the same sense, is that the veterans who I've talked to about it, they say the exact same thing that everyone else feels, is that they feel very disrespected.
Well, and see, that's one perspective, because my uncle's a jarhead, and he said that this is what he's fighting for. He's not fighting for everybody to have this. Oh yeah, we all agree on everything all the time, and you know what I'm saying. You have to. He said there are people who spit in his face, but when he comes home, but that is what he is fighting for. Their right to do that. Their right to speak out against that. He's not fighting for everybody to shut up and just have the same opinion and to not say anything. He said that's. It defeats the purpose. It defeats the purpose. And it's not that I'm disrespecting people in the service. It's not that at all, because I have a lot of respect for them. But
go ahead.
I have a lot of respect for them, but my respect for them has nothing to do with the statement that I am making when I sit for the national anthem, which is racist within itself. I'm never going to stand for that anthem. It's a racist anthem, and they don't play the third stanza because they know it's racist.
1 second.
Okay.
So did you start sitting down It was during the national anthem, right?
I believe I've stood for it. Maybe when I was in elementary school, when I wasn't quite sure what it meant. But after that, I stopped standing for it when I did the research on what it meant or what it said. Excuse me.
So my question is, did you start sitting before Colin Kaepernick or after?
Yeah, I started sitting way before it because a lot of people haven't read the full anthem. They don't even know what it says, and what it says is there will be no refuge for the slave, for the Negro. The only thing that the slave or the Negro can have is the grave.
Slave refers to black slaves hired to fight on the side of the British. So, what did you say that the third stanza said? One more time.
There will be no refuge for the hireling slave. Something. The only thing they can have is the grave.
There, no refuge could save the hireling slave from the terror of flight or the grave.
And that's basically to say that the slaves who ran away, that were seeking their freedom.
What it means is that it was referring to black slaves hired to fight by the side.
Exactly. 12. Saying that they couldn't seek refuge going to fight for somebody else, that the only thing they can have is the grave. Very, very racist. We can all agree. Very racist. And that's the main reason that I wasn't standing for it before. But, everything over the past 5 years or so that's came to light about race in this country. That just further cemented my...
I actually just finished watching a movie with my parents. Have you ever heard of the movie American Sniper?
Yeah.
So have you ever watched it?
Yeah.
And you know what happens over in those third world countries in Saudi Arabia and Eastern and stuff. And so that's what people go through, so that you have the right to your freedom of speech.
Exactly.
You look at Chris Kyle's funeral at the end of the movie, after they talked about how he got killed. Mm-hmm. You see the American flag. Yeah, Iraq. Excuse me. You see the American flag everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what symbolizes veterans and what they protect, is that you see the American flag everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so by sitting through the national anthem and through the Pledge of Allegiance, you're disrespecting that.
No, I'm not. The thing that it is a disservice to people who fight for my right to say what I want, for me to silence myself. That doesn't make any sense. If they're risking their, hold on, I got a point here. If they're risking their life to go to another country, the country that you said, a third world country, or well, let's say developing. Let's say developing. That's more respectful. A developing country, risking their life, sacrificing their life most of the time, so that we have the freedom over here to say what we want, to have these amendments, to have rights that they don't have over there. I'm supposed to silence myself because they might not agree with what I'm saying. That's a disservice. I would be silencing myself. I would be a mindless robot if I stood up for an anthem that I don't believe in, that is a racist anthem. Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to sit. That's not a racist thing. The anthem is racist. The anthem was written by a racist. That owned slaves. It's a racist anthem. Let's not kid ourselves here. But that does a disservice to them. I have a lot of people in my family who serve, and I asked them about it. I talked to them about it, and they said, this is what we're fighting for. Like, why would you, that we're not a part of another country, that we're not an authoritarian country, we're not a country that you can't say things. We're a country that will fight for your rights to say what you want. So even if you don't agree with me, even if it opposes me, you can say this, and this is what I fight for. It's a disservice to them to not speak up.
It's not a disservice to them to sit down. It's not a disservice to them to stand up and respect what they fight for, what they die for every single day. Is that,
let me ask you a question.
More veterans that I've talked to, and more people in my family who I've talked to, have all said the exact same thing, and that they feel that it's disrespectful for them to have to sit here and watch a 15-year-old kid who doesn't suffer anything, the oppression that anybody talks about, that nowhere near what slaves had to go through, nowhere near the Jim Crow South. They're sitting there for absolutely nothing. But
you don't know that because you're not Black, so you don't know what anybody goes through. But what I will say about that is that you can't pick and choose what freedoms you want to protect. So if you want to protect the Constitution, if you go overseas to fight and sacrifice your life, know what you're sacrificing your life for. And you're sacrificing your life for somebody like me who you might not agree with to sit down during a racist anthem.
Why you sit down?
I said, well, number one, I told you before, I used to sit down during the anthem because of the third stanza that is very, very racist. But I'm sitting now because we're not living the anthem. We're not living the anthem. I'm not gonna stand for an anthem, and society is not where it's supposed to be. And see, here's the thing that here's the thing that I really hate. Let me make this point. What I feel is that white people want black people to shut up. Like they say, okay, well, let me tell you why I feel this way. We go out and we protest and peacefully protest. And say that, we're going to peacefully protest, we're going to hold up signs, we're going to sing together, and that is the majority of what Black Lives Matter is. That's not always. I mean, I'm sure you don't know. I'm sure you've never been to a rally, but like what I will say is that what get publicized on TV, that's one side of it. People think that if these are black people and black people and Black Lives Matter are the same thing. That's not true either. But what I will say is that we go out and we rally and we protest peacefully. Don't like that either. You come to a baseball game, football game, take a knee, sit down peacefully, not bothering anybody, and they don't like that either. What is the right way to protest?
That's not what it is.
There's seemingly no right way to protest. Like I feel like they just want us to shut up about it because we're peaceful about it. Take a knee, sit down during the anthem.
But the question one is asking though is that why are you protesting?
You wouldn't know. Because you don't live the life.
No. But the answer is the same. Is that it's always we're fighting the oppression. Well, what oppression? Racism. Well, where is racism? It's everywhere. You guys can't name a specific instance or a law.
I will name a specific. I'll name a specific instance for you.
And I will agree with specific instances. And there are instances of racism. I'm not saying racism doesn't exist.
It's such a complex thing to have these conversations with somebody who could possibly just never understand. But I'll try to explain it to you.
I feel more segregated as a white person now than I ever have been.
Really?
Yes, I really do.
You're very you're so segregated as a white male.
People who stand for what Black Lives Matter stand for is what
you feel segregated as a white male. As a white male, you want to talk about how you feel segregated? Come on now, let's not kid ourselves. But what I will say,
I'm not segregated because I'm a white male. That's racist.
It's racist to say that you're segregated from what? Explain it. So okay.
You're assuming
you're segregated
that I'm
from what?
Because I'm white. You're assuming that I'm not segregated because I'm white. You don't know.
Okay, I want you to tell me what you are put apart from.
So let's go look at MTV News and what they just posted last week or a week and a half ago. The 2017 New Year's resolution for white guys. Let's go look at what happened 2 days ago whenever a special needs white kid was kidnapped by black men, by black 18-year-old kids and the 24-year-old men and women, was scalped on camera, and the first thing that happened was people jumping to the defense of the black kids. That's what I see as a problem. That's where I see the segregation.
And you feel segregated. And you feel segregated by that.
Because I know that if that was 4 white kids taking a black kid and scalping him,
those kids you know what happened? You know what would happen?
What would happen?
Here's what would happen. Black people will be upset at the white kids, and white people will try to justify the actions, just like it all. It's a reverse. It's a
black
reverse.
When these
things
down.
let me say something. When these things happen to black people, and I'm not going to defend them. I'm not going to defend those kids. You're not going to hear me defend those kids. But what I will say is that when these things happen to black people, you see no empathy. You see absolutely no empathy from white people. They say, "Oh well, maybe he shouldn't have been there. Maybe he deserved it. Maybe blah, 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 blah." You see no empathy. Oh, for example, I'll tell you. Let me tell you something. So I'm a political science major, minor in Black psychology, and I was having a conversation with somebody about Tamir Rice, the child who got shot by a trigger-happy officer, and they really just couldn't really. The saddest thing is try to see somebody justify why a child had to die. And so in their head, they're like, well, maybe he shouldn't have been outside. Maybe he shouldn't have been playing with the gun. Maybe if his mom was watching him, he would still be alive. You see no empathy whatsoever. No empathy for anything. No empathy when somebody's shot. No empathy when a guy is shot in front of his child. No empathy, whatever. Maybe he's da 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 da. You see it all the time. Everybody's trying to justify it. Well, blue lives matter. His life matter too. The cop, blah, blah, blah. You see no empathy whatsoever. But when it happens, let me say something. But when it happens to a white person, oh my God, did you see that? He is defenseless, which he was. He is defenseless. This is the example about how black people are, da, 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 da. But we're not supposed to judge white people on the things that, Dylan Roof did. We're not supposed to judge all white people, but we can judge all black people and the whole Black Lives Matter organization based on what these 4 kids did. This is a representation of all minorities and that we're violent inherently, blah, 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 blah. When Black Lives Matter wasn't even said one time in that video. Wasn't said not one time, but we're all grouped together. See, that's the thing.
What my question is now is that they didn't say it one time. Yeah, we grouped it with Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter
because it's black people. Because it's black people that have
Black Lives Matter hasn't come out to disavow that yet.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. The Chicago Black Lives Matter made a statement.
There's no such thing as a Chicago Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter doesn't.
Yes, it is. Did you see it? There's no one
singular person who speaks for Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter as a group has not made an effort to come out and say this is not because of Black Lives Matter.
I don't like it when we have these conversations and the other person doesn't do their research. They already came out, the Black Lives Matter section in Chicago. They have a Facebook page. They made a post and said that we are a non-violent group. Black people who choose to do violence. Do I have to pull it up? I mean, this is what I'm saying. I do my
statistics on crime rate and African Americans in Chicago.
Oh, there we go. I knew it was gonna happen. I always want to talk about the crime rate, but that's not what we're talking about right now.
But that's where it's.
But that's not what I'm talking about right now. Hold on. Let's get back on topic. We were talking about the Black Lives Matter and the kids who kidnapped the guy in Chicago, but we were supposed to be talking about the national anthem. What I will say about that is that it's wrong. I'm not going to sit here and justify those kids doing that. Like white people try to justify the innocent killings of black people. I'm not going to do that. That's inhumane.
When did we ever try to justify Dylan Roof?
When somebody said this is not a representation of all white people instead of saying this is wrong.
That's not what any white people do. That kid had mental issues.
So how? No, he was racist. He was racist.
Okay, yes, he was racist.
He just said that. No, he just said that he doesn't have mental issues. He said himself he does not have mental issues.
He doesn't have mental issues. I know tons of people who do have mental issues who will stand here and say that they don't have mental issues.
See, everybody wants to say, when it's a white person, everybody wants to say that he has mental issues, but if it's a brown person who does it, they're just evil. They're just evil. like radical Islamic terror. Like if they do something, they know exactly what they're doing. They're an evil person. They don't have mental issues.
They do know exactly what they're doing because more than one person does that. A whole group of people do that. That's what they believe. That's their ideology.
More than Dylan Roof does that. There's such thing as white supremacist ideology. It's not just exclusive to brown people. But what I will say is that the sides are now reversed. When something happens to a white person, white people want empathy for that child, and I give him as much empathy. I give him as much empathy as he needs because that is wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say that something is right when it's not right, like white people do when it's a black person. But you do see how the sides are reversed. It's wrong. I hope they are prosecuted to the fullest extent. That's what I'm going to say about that. Is it a representation of Black Lives Matter? No. Would you know that? No. You've never been to a rally. You don't. People say things.
Black Lives Matter.
People say things. Have you been though? See, that's the thing. I don't just talk about the Trump. I don't just talk about the Trump ideology. I've been to rallies. I've gotten deep in it.
I've been to Trump rallies.
Deep in it. The one in Greensboro. I got deep in it. But the thing is, I'm not gonna just spout. Oh, they're just racist. Well, they're just racist people. No, they're not. Some of them were nice. Some of them treated me decently. That's as far as I'll say. But I'm not just gonna say things. That's not what Black Lives Matter is. They're not associated with Black Lives Matter, just like Dylan Roof. And white people aren't associated with the same thing.
Can I tell you some videos that I see of Black Lives Matter besides them screaming pigs in a blanket, fry like bacon, stuff like that?
Are those Black Lives Matter? Or are those just black people?
No, that's Black Lives Matter.
That's
a Black Lives Matter rally. They were walking down the street chanting that, holding up Black Lives Matter signs.
Okay. Here's one thing.
Okay.
I don't like it when people say, well, these aren't I'm not saying that you're a Trump supporter. I don't know your political standpoint, but I will say this. When there are these racist people who were holding the Confederate flag and saying Obama's a nigger, Obama's a da 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 da, but they were holding the Confederate flag and saying that Obama was a nigger in the same, we're
I'm
gonna,
sure the
that's
people
a
do
whole
say that.
that's a
'Cause
whole that's a whole different story. But then, you know, they want to say, well, that's just them. That's just them. That's just that you know, that's not racist. We're not all racist. That's just what
Exactly.
they were saying. That's
So
just
hold on,
what they want.
analogy?
Go ahead.
Can I give
Go
an
ahead.
analogy? I'm a Christian, right? Okay.
Great.
So my church, we practice
Uh-huh.
Christianity. You know what Westboro Baptist Church is?
Yeah.
They're Christians.
Mhm.
They claim to be Christians. They don't stand for what we stand for.
Okay.
Okay.
You're making my point for me. But okay.
I know. I'm saying that not everyone.
So then when you have these
like
black people, so
Muslims
when
aren't the
you have
exact
these
same
black
way.
people who yell pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon, when you have these black people who say that, is that a representation of the whole Black Lives Matter who have clearly said that they didn't do that?
It happens more than once, and it's not disavowed.
Well, there are a lot of there are a lot of Trump supporters who do a lot of racist things, and it's happened more than once, though.
I've never heard. I don't
It's
know
the
what
same.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
Is there a
of course you
certain
don't.
that
Of
you
course
can
you
say?
don't. Of course you don't know what I'm talking about. But it happens. So what I will say is that it happens on both standpoints. Of course, the KKK loves Trump. Is that a representation of Trump? I guess it's not, says Trump. But you know, we have to take that at face value, just like we have to take that. You know, there's. Let's just get this straight. There are black people and there are Black Lives Matter. They're not the same thing.
Oh, I can tell you that.
If black people in a group does something, let's say like the riots, like there were some riots in where was it? Some urban city. There were riots. Black people were fed up. They're fed up. But you know what? They said, well, this is a Black Lives Matter riot. Why is it a Black Lives Matter riot? Because it's black people? That doesn't really make sense. So what I will say is that if you want to group black people and Black Lives Matter in the same token, you can't do that, because then we're going to group racist and white people in the same token.
But that's not,
you see what I'm saying?
But that's not what we're doing, though, is that whenever there's a riot in the name of Black Lives Matter with everyone wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts and
they weren't wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts. They were wearing black t-shirts, red t-shirts, regular t-shirts.
That's not true. Okay, so you can name people who
I saw videos.
Not literally every person that was involved was wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt. People that were there support Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter supported that rally. That's why people.
And the KKK supported Trump's rallies, but y'all not racist, right? But that's the point I'm trying to make.
Hey, whenever Trump disavowed the KKK, that shows that we don't stand for what the KKK stands for.
And whenever Black Lives Matter disavowed the riots, that shows that they don't stand for what they stood for. It's the same thing. I can just take your words and switch the names. I can literally do. Yes, I just did.
You cannot. Completely different instances. Trump supporters don't go around breaking into other people's houses and burning buildings down.
Yeah, they just hold Confederate flags and call and yell out the word nigger. That's what they do. That's a racist thing to do. They say they're not.
I've never.
I was there. See, that's the thing. I'm not just saying things that supports my point. This is what I want to do for a living, so I went to multiple rallies, and it was a safe space. It was a safe space for these white people who were just, wanted to air out their grievances towards minorities, and they were yelling things in the crowd. They didn't care I was there because they were the majority. It felt so safe for them to be openly racist, and that's what they were doing. They were yelling obscenities. It was very, very scary. It was, but they felt safe in that. They felt safe. They felt safe doing that, and that's how I gathered that they are racist, or if they're okay with racism. But that's the thing. I'm not just saying that. I've been there. I've seen it. But what I will say is that, okay, you want to say that you're not racist because, you disavowed. Okay. Black Lives Matter disavowed these people who are rioting.
Nope. I've seen
same people, token.
I've been treated poorly by Black Lives Matter people who support Black Lives Matter people. Even white people who support Black Lives Matter people. I've been poorly treated by them. So all the Trump supporters at my school, which was a majoritively, I live in Oklahoma. Every single county in Oklahoma voted Trump. Okay. Proud of that. And I don't sit here and I don't watch in the streets. I don't see some white guy carrying a shotgun with a Confederate flag slung over his shoulder, a big belt buckle, screaming the N-word. That doesn't happen. You must not live in the South then. I do live in the South. Oh, well, you got to open your eyes because I seen it. They almost didn't even let me in the rally. They almost didn't even let me in the rally because they thought I was going to protest when I just wanted to observe. It depends on what you were probably wearing some stupid Hillary shirt or something like that. Oh, seriously? Right? Because I voted for Hillary. Right? Why would I do that? That doesn't make fucking sense. Why would I go to a Trump rally and make myself a target when I know what happens?
I was likely to get shot. I was
you
likely to get shot or some shit. Yes, all them damn racist people. I was likely to get shot or some shit. No, I just wanted to go and look and observe. I was wearing a regular t-shirt. Like everybody else.
What I've gathered from this conversation, I guarantee you walked right in there and you just sat yourself down and you did not say a word.
No, I didn't.
I know you
No,
didn't.
I didn't.
I know
no,
you
I didn't.
I know you did.
I went there. I said, I'd like to get inside. They said, oh, do you support Mr. Trump? I said, I absolutely do not, but I would like to go inside and see. They tried to tell me, oh, are you going to protest? We don't want you in here if you're going to protest. I said, I just want to observe. They gave me a whole bunch of flack about it because of how I look, because I was black, and black people don't support Trump. I'm going to say it how it is, okay? Let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. Let's have some candor, because, I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious. Less than 3% support, but that's a different topic. Let's get back on topic. Black people don't owe the national anthem anything. We'll never owe the national anthem anything until this country wants to get real about
this country. This country doesn't want to get real. Is that what you're saying?
No, there's never been a public. There's never been the country has never said anything about slavery. There's never been a public apology about slavery or segregation
What color is our president of the United States right now?
Black. What the fuck does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. Oh yeah, we have a black president. Decades, centuries of systemic racism has now been it's just destroyed. Systemic racism is destroyed now. Okay, we have we have a qualified captain of a sinking ship that doesn't the sink move boy. The ship is still sinking. That doesn't mean anything. We have a black president. What has he done?
You just said that black people don't have any control in this country, and the
I never said that.
Control. You just said something along the lines of that.
No, I never said that. We have a lot of control in this country, but black people choose not to use it. We have a lot of comments. Let's read. I live in the South and I've never seen it yet. Girl, you gotta look. The way debate is extremely sarcastic and pretentious. Well, Austin, that's why I'm not going to debate with you anymore, because you're very mean to me before. That's why I'm not going to talk to you. Yes, it happens, but it's not every white person. See, that's an argument. I'm not even going to go into that.
The thing is, along the lines of discussing racism.
Yeah.
You can't group all white people as racist, like you did with me whenever we first started this conversation.
I never said you were racist.
You can't say that white people can't suffer from racism.
You can't.
Because it happens.
You can't suffer from racism.
Yes,
Racism is a systemic construct. Okay, let's say, for example, right?
So black people can be racist.
Black people can be prejudiced and bigoted, but not racist. You have to learn the terminology. I'll say this. You can call me the N-word, right?
I'm not going to.
And I know you better not. I know you're not, but I'm just saying that, like, hypothetically, I'm not gonna call you the C word either, but I'm saying hypothetically, you can call me the N-word, and what that's gonna do to a person, let's say, who's not as strong-minded as me, and they will say, black people were second-class citizens for a very long time, are still suffering from some of the systemic things that happened before, are still suffering from Jim Crow, who don't even know it, still suffering, are very more likely to be in every single way, school system, prison system, society, jobs, healthcare, are every way disadvantaged. So maybe I am inferior. So then I go and I call you the C word, and you're just like, oh, okay, and that doesn't mean anything. The white race, the white race is on top in America. That's not. It's not a big surprise. That's just how it. That is just how it is. It is just how it is. You cannot be racist to a group that is the majority, to a group that has tried to make other races, the minorities, inferior. I can't be racist to you because black people don't have the power that white people have in America. If black people had the power that white people have, of course I could be racist to you.
So can I do something really quick?
Go ahead.
I'm going to Google the term racism.
Quickly.
And I'll read it from Oxford.
Go ahead.
The belief that all members of each race possess characteristics or abilities specific to that race.
Superior.
So as to distinguish it as an inferior or superior.
Inferior or superior. That's that key word.
That's the dictionary definition. We'll go to
Yeah.
Wikipedia. Discrimination and prejudice towards people based on their race or ethnicity. Okay, that's 2. Oxford Dictionary. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's race is superior, that one's own race is superior. Okay, so really quickly, let me ask you one question. In which definition did I read out of those 3 that said, but only black people and other minorities can suffer from racism? White people can't suffer from racism.
Listen, I can't. In America, you cannot suffer. In America,
yes, you can.
You can't suffer from racism, but you can't suffer from racism because I cannot make you feel inferior. How can I make you feel inferior? If your race is on top, how can I make you feel inferior? If it is very obvious, let me answer your question. It is very obvious that white people in society, in every single way, have an advantage. So it's obvious that the society treats you as superior. If that's not true on my end, how can I make you feel inferior? If society has already said in every single way, like literally in every single way, that white people are superior, that white supremacy is the best, how can I make you feel inferior? How can I make you feel inferior and clearly implement that?
If you can make it, are you asking about how can you make white people feel inferior?
Yeah, no, how can and have it backed up by society? See, the reason here's let me say something. I could be bigoted and prejudiced towards you.
Racist. You can be racist.
No, I can't. I cannot make you feel inferior when society does not back that up. That doesn't make sense. But what I will say is that you can be racist towards me, and society will back that up, just like it has always done for centuries and centuries and centuries. But what I will say, to get back on topic, because can go on for years and years and days with this topic, is that black people will never owe the national anthem anything because this country
is protected by
has never gotten real about racism, has never gotten real about the fact that it just hates black people. This country hates black people. Yes, it does. It does. It hates black and brown people. It try at every turn. At every turn.
You're looking at only what you want to think. That's wrong. Our president of the United
I'm looking at my experiences.
I'm black. That means that people.
Racism is gone, folks.
The majority of the country voted for him, and the majority of the country is not racist. Man. Just like the people who supported Trump are not racist.
The majority of the country is definitely racist.
That voted for Obama, who aren't racist. They look at the way that you think. They look at the way that these other people on the left think. And that's whenever they pull the lever for Trump, because they don't want people that have the ideology and thought process of you or Hillary Clinton. They don't want you in office. That's why Donald Trump won. Because of the way that you treat white people, the way that black people treat white people.
Listen,
the way that Hillary Clinton supporters treated Trump supporters. They don't want that in office.
You're getting winded, man. You're getting winded. Listen, I love white people.
You just don't listen. You're some political science major. You don't listen.
You done? You done yelling at me? See, that's why I won't talk to Austin, because whenever we have this conversation, he starts to yell at me. Listen, I have these conversations with people every day, literally every day. I go to Trump rally. Well, when he was still rallying, I think he still is. But I went to Trump rallies and I had very civilized conversations with people. I don't hate white people. That is not what I do. That doesn't make any sense. You can think that I do, but I don't. That doesn't make sense. Having hate in your heart doesn't do anything but hurt you. At the end of the day, it's a concept. But what I will say is that half of the country is definitely racist because they're tired of having a black president. They never even had a black boss, let alone a black president. And they came out in droves and heaps for Trump, even after he said racist shit. He said the most racist shit ever. And they don't care. Like this judge can't preside over my case because he's Mexican. Oh, black people are living in hell. They're living in hell. Look, they have no jobs and no education.
Exactly. Yes,
they have no jobs. What the fuck? I'm living in hell. I'm looking at my damn pool right now. I'm living in hell. I don't have no education. I'm 18 with an associate's degree. That is not true. See, that's what you guys want to believe about us. You guys want to believe that we're some downtrodden community when there is so much vibrance and life in the Black community that we give y'all stuff. Pop culture is Black culture, but y'all don't want to think about that. Y'all just want to think about us as we living all in the same street in Chicago. We all live in the same damn street, all gang members. We're all this, we're all that. But y'all all can't be racist, right? Come on now. I'm not here for the lies. What I'm trying to say.
Hold on. See, listen, you're sitting here talking about how he talked about how Black people are living in hell.
Yeah, that's what he said.
The crime rate, I know, and the crime rate and
you're not going to convince me that Black people are living in hell.
American race in the United States is extremely terrible. That's not to say though that all Black people are suffering. I know one of my really good friends who's African American. His dad is very successful. They just moved into a very prosperous neighborhood, and he's not saying that all Black people are in the same situation. A higher percentage of African Americans are in the same situation. Now, so on the topic of the Mexican judge. Of course, everyone's thinking that he's a racist. You don't want somebody who's going to be prejudiced against you to be ruling your case. Would you?
So then white judges shouldn't rule against Black people who support Black Lives Matter?
That's not what I'm saying. You sound just
so
like
you said that a judge shouldn't preside over you if you think they're going to be prejudiced against you.
I'm sitting in
let's say that there's a white judge who doesn't believe in Black Lives Matter. That's his choice, whatever. Should he not preside over Black people who do believe in that? Answer: yes, no.
I don't understand that. Hold on, can you repeat the question one more time?
Okay. Trump said that a Mexican judge can't preside over his case because what he thinks about illegal immigrants. Should a white judge then, who doesn't believe in Black Lives Matter, not preside over a Black person's case that does believe in Black Lives Matter? Because you said there shouldn't be a conflict of interest. So should that then happen, or?
Again, it depends on the judge. I'm not going to sit here and say that what Donald Trump said about the judge is right. Okay, but listen to what I'm saying. So you don't want somebody like me ruling in a court case that you're in. That's conflict of interest. Now I know what you think, and I know that you really don't. You don't care for what white people think.
So, see, don't make assumptions about me. I don't let these conversations shape my opinion about white people because that would be prejudice and bigoted. See, I'm not a hypocrite, so I'm not gonna say, oh, I don't want white people. I just want people to be real with themselves. Be real. So what he was doing was racist. That's racist. I'm just saying that, okay, then let's stop getting white judges to preside over these cases where Black people go to jail for a joint, no priors, going to jail for 10 years over a joint, and then letting other people out. That's a conflict. That might be a conflict too.
That's not a conflict of interest. If you sit here, and I actually saw a court case, and a lot of these judges, again, I'm not agreeing with Donald Trump on the topic.
But you voted for him, so you are. So it's okay.
I'm voting for him, so I am. So you're voting for Hillary Clinton, and you're agreeing with all these Middle Eastern countries that are giving her money, right?
What's your name? What's your name?
My name is Troop.
Droop?
Troop. Troop.
Troop. Okay. Troop. Listen, I'll say this. Democrats and Republicans are at a very comical point. At a very, very, very comical point. We can agree on one thing, or maybe we can't, but I'll say it. Trump is a racist. Hillary is shady. Two very, 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 very bad choices. But, when Trump destroys America, like he's trying to do, so far, with the whole Taiwan call, with the whole everything that he's been doing, and then with the whole healthcare, repeal and replace with what? You just can give people whatever. We can say a very good deal. Yeah, repeal and replace with what? What are we going to replace it with?
Repealing Obamacare is the first.
What are we going to replace it with?
Another kind of healthcare.
With what?
I'm not in Trump's administration, so I would not have the insight of what. Do you know with what?
Nobody knows with what. Nobody knows. He doesn't. Okay. He doesn't even know. But
I know is that I don't.
But I will say this. What I will say is that when people are dying, At least we have a president that didn't have a private server. Okay, I'm good. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But we're gonna get back on topic. Black people don't know the national anthem anything. We don't owe this country anything. We built the damn country. We don't. We built it. We built this damn country. We don't owe this country anything. We did. 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 The cotton industry. The cotton industry got made America what it was. We made America a lot of money. We made America by a lot of money because white people didn't want to work for it. So what I will say,
because I think it was a terrible thing. But you can't.
I'm glad you do.
People...
I'm glad you do. But
okay, good.
I will finish my point though. I will finish my point. Like I was saying, we don't owe this country anything. We built this country. So so if I don't want to stand for the national anthem, I'm not going to stand. And I expect you as a white person who will never. You have literally no idea. Your life is so different from mine. We could be the same in every single aspect, same education, same socioeconomic level, but I'm black and you're not. So you will literally never know what it's like. So since in that standpoint,
I won't know what it's like, but you won't know what it's like to be white.
I can imagine, but since you will never, yes, I can imagine not being treated. I can imagine not being treated like I'm guilty of something even before I get in the room. Like I can imagine we just want to be treated equal. We know what it's like because we see you guys treated like that every day. We know what that's like. We just want that. See, and you guys should be thankful.
So I'm gonna sit here as a white person. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna look right into this camera right over here.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna make a video onto why the New Year's resolutions for 2017 for Black people. Black men. Okay.
Okay.
You think I would go under fire for that? Do you think I would that I would get harassed for that a lot?
New Year's resolutions for Black people?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not if they're true and funny and not racist.
Well, the one 2017 for white people was very racist.
What did it say?
Was not true and funny.
What did it say?
I don't remember every specific listen. What I did hear,
paraphrase, so I know what it's kind of like. You're talking about it.
What I did listen to and what I did watch was was African Americans who were sitting here that saying that America was never great if it wasn't for a white person. It's not true.
America was never great if it wasn't for a white person.
America was never great if you weren't a white person.
Oh yeah.
You think that's right?
Yeah, that's about true. That's about it. Yeah.
So for like Irish people and stuff like that, you think that they've always kind of had the cherry in their mouth and.
Well, Irish people are different. They were able to assimilate. I know what you're talking about. They were able to assimilate. They were able to lose their accent, and at the bottom line, they still have white skin. Being black is something totally different, and it's not like being a minority. Black people and minorities are totally different because anti-black racism is a whole different construct than it is towards other minorities.
I'm not denying racism because it does exist. Okay. But you're denying that racism exists towards white people, and that's a problem. You can sit here and you can roll your eyes all you want.
Racism towards white people. How am I going to be racist? See, that's the difference. Racism towards white people is saying, this is mine and you cannot have it. Or it's either poking fun at white people for not using seasoning on their food and not being able to dance. Racism towards black people. Racist jokes towards black people is, oh, you guys are lazy and unintelligent. Racist jokes towards white people is, you guys can't dance. Your chicken tastes like cardboard. That's you see the difference there. You see the difference there. See, like on Twitter, they were poking fun at white people. So was I. I have white friends, and I was poking fun at them for not using washcloths. When I said over my white friends, I said, "Where's the washcloth?" So we don't use those. I said, "Why? Why not?"
It's different. You go on to somebody.
That's a race joke. A racist joke is black people are lazy, black people are unintelligent, black people don't have any jobs. That's not even fucking funny. How is that? So that's the difference. White people want to be incorporated in everything, and when they're not, it's racist. Oh it's not. It's not. For example, on Twitter, there's this Yahoo made a joke, or it wasn't a joke, it was a typo. Yahoo had a typo. And they called it nigger navy instead of bigger navy. And Black Twitter went and they made a whole bunch of jokes that only black people could understand because
they popped off. I saw that.
It was funny. They funny.
Were very mad.
No, they weren't. See, nobody understood. No, they weren't. They were making jokes. They were making jokes.
Black people just
for example. Okay. For example. It was a boat, and then they said it was USS Deadass with the Tim with the shoe, the Tims. Do you understand what that means?
I know what the Tims are. I understand that.
USS Deadass. Do you know what that means? It's a joke. It's a joke. Black people understand what that means.
Some people were joking about it. Great.
Everybody was joking about it. But see, white people were so mad. They said Black Twitter is the root of all evil. We're just making jokes. I don't know if they wanted us to be mad at it. They wanted us to be mad that they made a typo when we knew it was a typo. We knew it was a mistake. But they were making jokes. They said, okay, go get the target. I can't find the target. If I go in here and find the target, I'm going to beat your ass. We all know what that means. Black people know what that means. We have mothers when we can't find something and they want us to find something. She says, if you don't come in here, if I have to come in here and find it, I'm going to beat your ass. Every Black mother has said that. See, it's just us celebrating ourselves, but when white
That's
people
racism. You're doing that to yourself now.
Celebrating
you're stereotyping yourself.
That's not a stereotype. Black mothers do that all the time.
No,
Black mothers do that.
No.
I'm sure you know, Troop. I'm sure you know, don't you? Don't you? See, that's the thing. That's the thing. We can laugh at ourselves. We're not so uptight like white people are sometimes. We can celebrate ourselves. The thing is, we can make these jokes. Everybody was laughing, but white people was mad that we weren't mad that they used a racist term. It doesn't make sense. Yes, they were saying white people, Black Twitter is racist. It's racist. Why? Because you don't understand the jokes? Because you don't understand the jokes?
I have talked to some people, especially on this app, with very dark ideologies, and those people are waiting. Those people are waiting for the day where they're allowed to express themselves, and they are people who hate white people.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there are.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm sure there are.
Good. There are.
Yeah.
Okay, but
people who hate Black people. I mean, there are people who hate Black people too. I mean, that's.
I don't hate Black people.
I didn't say about you.
Okay, but you're generalizing.
Notice that this is
imperfect. You're generalizing Black people, though. You're generalizing Black people, and then you're generalizing white people, and you're saying white people hate Black people too, just because Dylan Roof did this.
No, I was just making a statement. You said that there are people.
If you ever heard Dylan's confession, his confession was.
You said that there are people on this app who hate white people who are waiting for, or who are waiting for and then I said there are people who hate Black people too. Like, that's very real. It's a very real thing.
No, but you've been generalizing people this entire conversation. I haven't generalized people. I'm saying that certain people that have dark ideologies are waiting to be able to express themselves openly in the United States. Okay, but here's what I'm not saying.
Yeah.
I am not threatened by all Black people.
I'm not threatened by all white people. We feel the same.
You're very condescending whenever you're talking. I mean, like, you're sitting here and you're just acting like you're a know-it-all. You don't know everything.
No, I'm not. But you're making statements like I don't feel the same. You're making statements like I'm saying that I feel threatened about white people. You made a statement that said that I must hate all white people. I don't appreciate that. Yeah, you did. You literally did. You said you must. I don't know how you feel about white. I mean, come on, man. Like, I'm gonna be condescending when you make blanket statements like that. I am. I'm sorry, because you did. So I mean, like I was saying, I have these conversations with people every day. I don't think you're a racist.
Good.
Not every white person is a racist. We have a difference of opinion. But I'm not going to sit here and let you say something wrong and not correct you. Of course I am. Like I was saying about the topic that we should get back on. Black people don't owe the national anthem anything. I'm never going to stand for that anthem because it's racist. There's a racist stanza in the song. And somebody wants me to stand up for that? I think not. I'm never going to stand up for that. Does that disrespect the troops? They shouldn't feel disrespected because that's what they go across seas and fight for. They're not just fighting for people who agree with them. You disagree with me? Oh well, you should have looked at what you were fighting for. If you're mad that you're fighting for that, and if you don't like freedom of speech, go to North Korea, where everybody has to think the same thing, that they have to love the government. They can't speak out against the government. Go to North Korea, go to Cuba, go somewhere where authoritarian governments reign, not somewhere where there's freedom of speech.
We don't want to go to North Korea though, because they don't have the freedom of speech like the United States. But what the purpose of the national anthem is, and what the purpose of the Pledge of Allegiance is it's respecting the men and women that go out and fight and risk their lives every single day. It's just that small thing of respect. There are other ways that you can protest. Whenever Terrence Crutcher was killed in Tulsa, which is about an hour and a half where I live, whenever he was killed, there were silent protests. And that's
silent protests.
There were silent protests.
I'm sure you guys would love that. Silent protests.
There were silent
we can't
protests.
Protest.
And then there were also peaceful protests.
You don't get
there
to
were peaceful protests at the Capitol. The lady turned herself in.
You don't get to tell us how we have to feel about our oppression. You're not going to tell me how I should feel about it. If I want to go out and I want to protest loudly, peacefully, I'm going to do that. If I want to stay inside and
that's great. Protest. It's okay to an extent. It's not okay to go out and burn cop cars and burn buildings and harass.
That's not protest. That's a riot.
Black Lives Matter, and for them to
that's not a protest. That's a riot.
That is what
protest. That's a riot.
That is what the purpose of the riots are for, though. Protesting Freddie Gray.
Protesting and rioting are different. And rioting is the language of the unheard, like Martin Luther King said. When you have riots, are they right? No. Do they make a larger statement? Yes. Like when he was shot and murdered and assassinated. There were protests. There were riots. Riots all over Montgomery. Riots. Because the Black people felt so frustrated. They finally had a hero. They finally had somebody who was gonna come through for them, and it was stolen from them. Frustration when the cop didn't get indicted. There have been so many. I can't even remember. There have been millions of them. Really? I can't remember, but he didn't get indicted, and there were bad. You
just said that there were millions of. You said that there were millions of Black people shot by white police officers.
I can't. Yeah,
that's not true.
Yeah, there was a lot last year. There was a lot last year. You want me to name?
Not a million.
Oh well, not a million, but it felt like it.
How many do you think
I can't even remember I can't even remember all the hashtags. It's been so many hashtags. But like I said, there it was one of them, and they were rioting, and it's the language of the unheard. It's just that them being so frustrated when when injustices happen, and the justice system is supposed to come through for us, and they don't. You want to riot. You feel frustrated. I feel that frustration, really, but I don't take it out and riot.
Can I read this to you?
Go ahead.
Cops killed nearly twice as many white people as Black people in 2015.
Do you know why?
According to data compiled by Washington
Do you know why?
Post.
Do you know why?
I want to tell me why you think.
Because there are more white people population-wise than there are Black people. Mm-hmm. If you adjust for population, Black people are killed 5 times, not 2, not 3, not 5 times as much as white people for population size. Did you know that?
Statistics to this saying that white people die twice as much as Black people.
No, that is true. The number, that is true. The number. But for population, if you adjust the size for population, Black people are disproportionately killed.
Are they killed innocently, or are they killed rightfully?
Sometimes, I mean, is there such thing as
very rarely
rightfully killing somebody? Is there such thing as rightfully killing somebody?
There is such.
When somebody dies, when somebody dies, is there a rightful killing? See, I'll say this. I'm not gonna debate with you whether somebody's deserved to have their life taken. I'm never gonna debate with somebody over that, because people are people, and everybody deserves the right to live. As an officer, if an officer chooses to shoot somebody, we can regard whether they're right or wrong, but I'm not going to debate with you whether somebody deserved to die. That's the empathy that I'm talking about, that a lot of white people lack when we talk about Black people who were getting shot. For example, I never finished my story, but I was telling this lady about Tamir Rice, and she just couldn't really fathom. It was really very disheartening to see a lady with kids try to make it in her head to say, well, maybe he deserved to die. I mean, maybe he shouldn't have been outside. Where was his mom? I mean, why was he playing with the toy gun? Like, lady, you have kids. You have kids, and you're trying to make it okay that this cop shot this baby, a damn baby, in a park.
I just watched the movie of everything that was based off of is true, of little kids in Iraq that pick up RPGs and fire them at Marines.
Yeah, such developing countries need a lot of help. So sad, but we're in America, and in America, those things shouldn't happen. Those things shouldn't happen where a grown man
It's like that one lady who was sitting in her car, and she was telling her kid, whenever a cop pulled her over, she was telling her kid, "Whatever you do, you better fight them. If they try to take me, or they try to take you, you better fight them. You better punch and you better kick."
Yeah. And that lady, just like my mama told me, don't you die on the damn ground like a dog. If somebody don't you die on the damn ground like a dog. You better
That's
fight.
not the context at all.
Yeah.
She was pulled over. She was pulled over for some sort of driving issue. She's being very rude to the Chinese police officer, to an Asian police officer, not even full white. She told her son.
I mean, it's not a white. See, that's the thing. White people take it as it's a white issue. Law enforcement, that's something else. Even black law enforcement, it's a power issue. It's a power issue because they have to meet their quotas. And who's the less powerful in society? Black people, poor black people. So that's who they're going to target. They want see, and then people say, "Oh, well, there's so much crime." Well, police officers don't go around circling around these white neighborhoods where a lot of crime goes on. A lot of crime may not be the same crime. It may not be the same crime. I mean, I don't know all those hard drugs that there's a lot of crime. There's a lot of crime that goes on in those areas, but they don't police that area. They don't police Wall Street. They go to Compton. They go to Chicago. They go to the other cities in Chicago. And you want to know a fun fact?
What's a fun fact?
That black people kill black people at 92%, right? White people kill other white people
85%.
At 85%. See, that's the thing. It's called intra-racial homicide. You kill who you're beside. So if white on white crime, which is not a term, I don't know why. There's Asian on Asian crime. You kill who are you beside. So everybody's saying black on black crime is such an anomaly. These black people are so violent. These black people are so violent when it's only 5% apart.
I'm sorry.
Explain that to me.
Hold on. You're sitting here, and again, we're talking about numbers, statistics. You're looking at the 13% of the population that held responsible from 1963 to 2013. They were responsible for 50% of the homicides, white or black.
In the black community, homicides in general.
Of homicides.
The numbers. No, that's wrong. I don't know where you're getting your number from. But
no, you don't know where I'm getting my number from. If you're sitting here saying that it's only black on black violence.
I'll let you.
Okay, thank you. Because you're sitting here, and I'm looking at the statistic, and it says from 1963 to 2013, 13% of the population was held responsible for 50% of the homicides. Homicides alone.
Do you ever think that's because, number one, these communities are policed more? So let's say there's a DUI stop, right? You know what those are. DUI stop in one street, right? And they find 4 drunk drivers. Does that mean that street necessarily has the most drunk drivers just because that street is policed more?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay, I'll say it again. There's a street that has a DUI stop. You know how they stop you and they ask you, have you had anything to drink tonight? They find 4 drunk drivers on that street. Does that mean that street, the people who were driving on that street, had the most drunk drivers?
I can sit here
just because they were asking, just because they were looking for that. See, if you go looking, you're gonna find it. That's my point.
I'm sorry.
If you go looking, you're gonna find it. That's my point. If they would have, let's say they would have policed another street and they found 7 drunk drivers, is that then now we know that there are more drunk drivers in this street than another street. It's the same thing. But what I will say, because we keep veering off of the topic, I don't like that. What I will say is that this country has never gotten real about race. This country has never gotten serious about race. This country constantly tries to downplay what happened. We have been segregated and enslaved for more years than we have been free. We've only been free for 50 years. Segregation was for 100 years, and slavery was, I want to say 280
so
years.
You're saying
something like
America's
that.
Involved with solving racism, right?
Say that again.
You just said that America doesn't want to get real with racism.
So no, it doesn't. White people constantly want to make.
Still exist, and are they still rampant through the South?
There are a couple Jim Crow laws that still exist that we're trying to get off the books. There was one law that said that just got off the books in Mississippi that said that black people and white people can't be married anymore. There was somebody who tried to contest that. It's minuscule, but the Jim Crow laws still have a major effect. But I'll say this, that It still affects Black people today. The way that there is a ghetto in every single Black community. The way that their housing projects, gentrification, it goes on, it goes on, it goes on. White people don't want to get real about it because I think that it makes them feel like, oh, well, racism exists and white people did it, so maybe I'm racist. No, I'm not racist. So I'm gonna say that this isn't racist, that racism doesn't exist. I think that's what goes on in a lot of white people's head, and I think that it's a very uncomfortable conversation for white people to have. It is very uncomfortable for them to try to come to grips with the fact that their ancestors did this, that they're not their ancestors, that we can have a change if they're honest about themselves and about what's real in this country.
So I can tell you, I'm not uncomfortable discussing racial issues, but here's what I will tell you: that my grandfather and my father, their law firm is put in the middle of a very poor part of town, right over by the bombing city. And I will tell you that the majority, whenever I go over there and I visit and I help them work, the majority of people that are over there that are homeless, which is a large number, the majority of people are white. And let me tell you a story really quickly. My grandfather, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, he's 67 at the time, somewhere around there. He was leaving his office, and the house next door they had this huge drug bust, and the house next door. Okay, so my grandfather was an older man walking in that part of the neighborhood. His office got blocked off, and he was pulled over and arrested because they thought that he was in connection with the house. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is that they're not generalizing a certain number of people. He was wearing a suit, and they thought that he was in connection with the house. So by everyone that's talking about they don't owe anything to the national anthem, is that you're protected every day by, and I'm not sitting here and saying that racism doesn't exist, and you will never ever be able to talk to a person who will sit there and say racism doesn't exist. Never. That doesn't happen. There's nobody in the world that exists like that. But you're talking about how Black people don't know anything to the national anthem. They're protected every single day, even at home or overseas.
Am I protected?
Yes, you are protected.
Am I really protected?
If somebody breaks into your house and you call 911 and you say, help,
they might shoot me. Here's what I'm saying. Today, this year, oh no, not this year, last year, I'm sorry. It is 2017. Last year, guess how many times I was stopped?
How many?
Just guess. What's a normal number? I was stopped
how many times
10 times. 10 times. Last year, I'm a new driver. I started driving in 2015. I was stopped. I have no idea. See that your guess is just as good as mine. I don't have these same freedoms that white people have in society. That's why. And I'm trying, what I'm saying? Why do I have to be so respectful? You know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm going to always be respectful to law enforcement. They have a hard job to do. I'm not one of these people who feel like law enforcement are, just fuck them. No, I don't feel that way. But why should I have to be respectful in order to preserve my life? Like, that's some bullshit right there. Like, of course, you should be respectful to people because, don't be an asshole. But in order to preserve my life, I have to be respectful to them. If they having a bad day, if I'm disrespectful, if they feel like their authority is threatened, they can kill me if they want to. Might get away with it.
Don't say that.
Yes. I will. I just said it, and I will say it again. I just said it, and I will say it again.
Never watch cops. Those guys that have a bad day, they arrest more people because they're more aggravated, and they're not going to sit here and deal with your crap. But whenever a cop pulls you over,
that's their fucking job. Are you serious?
Is that whenever they pull you over, they don't just walk up to your car and be like, I'm going to give you a ticket for what you were doing back there, but I can't tell you what that was. That's not true. That you were either speeding, you were driving recklessly, you were doing something.
No, I wasn't.
And I'm not going to sit here and say that a large number of those.
No, I wasn't.
No,
I wasn't. That's the thing. I was stopped.
Can you listen to what I'm saying?
I was doing that,
because I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say,
let me finish my story.
I let you finish your story. You're saying that you got pulled over 10 times. I was pulled over 7. I was pulled over 7 times last year.
Driver too. Did you? How many tickets did you get? How many tickets
did you get? 2.
Yeah. Guess how many I got?
How many did you get?
0, because I wasn't doing anything. I said, "Oh, can I help you, officer? Just never seen you in this neighborhood." That's literally what he told me. I said, "Well, I live here. I live in this neighborhood. I live in a very nice neighborhood." He said, "Oh, I live in this neighborhood. I've never seen you around here. That's not my problem, officer. Can you step out of the car?" Sure. A 30 long for him to just run my priors. I don't have any, and then look up my address. And then he saw that I lived in this neighborhood. And see, the other times was when I was stopped on my campus with my book bag on my back, and they asked me if I was a student there. I said, looked at my book bag, and I said, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, I have a book bag. I'm walking to class right now.
They're probably just trying to be nice, or they're probably just trying to find out about. Hey, are you a student over there? Like, you're like, let me check.
Of course, that's what they were doing.
I'm a student there, dummy. And then you sling your bag over your shoulder and you go on your way. That's why people.
But why was I stopped and not the people who were walking behind me who were
Last year, my mom was pulled over. My mom, a white woman, was pulled over. Whenever she put her car in park, the car moved up just an inch, and the cop put his hand on his gun. And he like acted like the car was about to move. And my mom goes, what the heck? Like, what's wrong? And the cop goes, ma'am, don't have that tone of voice to me. Step out of the car and go back to my car. She stepped out of the car. She went back to his car. You know why? Because she was being disrespectful to the officer who probably wasn't having a great day.
That's not my fucking problem. If a cop is having a bad day and decides to pull his gun out on me because he's having a bad day, that's a horrible cop. You don't get to pull a gun. You don't. I can see that's the issue. I shouldn't have to be respectful to save my life. Oh, I'm disrespectful to you, so you're gonna shoot me? That what the fuck? That thinking is a North Korean thinking. Like, oh, you have to be respectful. If you're not respectful, then they're gonna kill you. And if they kill you, then that's your fault because you weren't respectful. Because you weren't respectful, and they were having a bad day, so they killed you. But that's your fault because they were having a bad day. So you should have just not had an attitude because an attitude will get you killed. Do you know that? That is the most insane. That is so insane to say that if you are disrespectful, then you deserve to die. That is a death sentence, especially if you're black and you're disrespectful. Oh, you're already black and you want to be disrespectful to me and disrespect my authority. See, this is the thing. I was so respectful. I was the most respectful. I was the most respectful person. I was the most respectful person to this cop who tried to handcuff my pregnant cousin, who is 8 months pregnant, who cannot put her hands behind her back physiologically because her belly is so big, she cannot do that. So he thought that she was resisting arrest. So what did he do? He slammed her against his police car, her belly, face first. And I grabbed his arm to try to say, hey, listen, don't do that. Guess who got tased? Me. I got tased. So it is a very, very insane notion to say that it is your job, the citizen, to keep the police officer calm. You have to keep him calm because he's trigger happy and he's having a bad day. Why is it on me,
that's
the citizen,
profiling,
to de-escalate the situation when a cop who is trained to de-escalate the situation escalates the situation and makes it horrible. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Black people don't know the national anthem anything. We will never owe it anything. They can make a new song. And start treating black people a little bit different. Maybe I'll stand for it. But especially not that damn song. I'm never gonna stand for that damn song. That song is racist. The third stanza is very, very. He talks about slaves. Come on now. You expect a black person to stand up for that? Like that's ridiculous. And then everything that goes on in this country, honestly, like just the day by day, you get tired of it. Black people are getting tired of it. Was Donald Trump
inaugurated by racists?
Was he inaugurated?
Was he elected by? Excuse me, that was Portraits of Wedding. Was he elected by racists?
He was elected by 55% of white women and 67% of white men.
To 67% of white women, 63% of white women, and 50% white.
Yeah, you got it right. Was he elected by racists? The majority of white people voted for him. Most of them were probably racist or okay with racism. There's a difference. They were probably either racist or okay with like racism isn't that bad because it doesn't affect me. So probably, yeah, I'm willing to say that.
That's a poor ideology. Is that's sad that.
Well, racism is a poor ideology too, but you're not gonna fight against that.
Sorry.
So I said racism is a poor ideology too, but I doubt you're gonna fight against that because you're part of the people who are racist who voted for him.
I call people out who are racist all the time. I live in the South. I see people at our school who are talking in a racial way, and I'm like, hey guys, that's not respectful. Listen, you need to calm down. And you need to just talk like they are people, and you just need to start treating them like correctly. And so, you don't know if I combat racism or not. I don't take part in racism. I don't let people around me take part in racism.
You voted for a racist.
I didn't vote for a racist. No, I didn't.
What about the people of color who voted for him? They're disillusioned. They're disillusioned. They're voting against their self-interest. Just like a lot of white people voted against their self-interest when they voted for Trump, who were middle-class white people who thought, who use Obamacare, who use Social Security, who use Medicaid, who have abortions. I'll never understand that, but they voted against their self-interest, basically. That's all I'll say about that.
I'm sorry?
Somebody in the comments said, "What about the people of color who voted for him?" I said, "Those are Republicans who voted against their self-interest, just like the white people who voted for him, who also voted against their self-interest, who use Obamacare, who use Social Security, who use Medicaid, all the things that he is trying to, who make minimum wage, all the things that he is trying to kind of combat. They like him because he stands for something else, not for his political issues, but because of his racial ideologies, and they like that, and they voted against their self-interest because he was racist."
That's not true. I mean, they didn't vote against their self-interest.
Okay.
You look at Obamacare and how it screwed everybody.
No, I didn't just say Obamacare. I said they voted for somebody who wants to cut. So Obamacare, that is true. One is Obamacare, but Obamacare, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. What else? Free preventative screening. That is not just Planned Parenthood, but is paid not by the tax dollars, but federally. They vote up, and minimum wage, something that he wants to pull back. They voted against their own self-interest. They're not millionaires. They're not wealthy people. But they voted against their self-interest. These people make minimum wage, and he said minimum wage was too high.
They didn't vote against their self-interest because it's people.
They want to make less money.
I'm sorry?
They want to make less money.
Are you talking about like raising the minimum wage?
Trump was asked about raising the minimum wage. He said that it needs to be lowered and a whole bunch of things about taxes in order for us to get out of the deficit, in order for us to,
No, he's not. I don't.
He said that
I'm saying he's a guy.
He said that he wants to lower it.
I've heard him say that he's against raising the minimum wage, which I'm against. I don't want the minimum wage.
He said verbatim. He said verbatim, it is too high.
He's talking about the minimum wage.
Yes, he was. Did you not read it? Did you not look? That's what I'm talking about. Voting against your self-interest. That's what a lot of these people did. I mean, come on. That's why. But what I will say is that Black people don't owe the national anthem anything. We don't owe this country anything. We built this country. This country was built off the backs of our ancestors who deserve reparations. This country was built off the backs of stolen people who have never gotten a formal apology. Never. I mean, the least they can do is give us an apology. The most they could do is give us reparations. But, I don't think either is going to happen.
Okay, so you're wrong. You just said that Trump wanted the minimum wage lowered.
Did you see? It was when he was in that big line. He was in that big line of people where he was standing next to Cruz, and then it was like early on his campaign.
From PolitiFact right now, this was written July 28th, 2016. It says that Trump said the minimum wage has to go up. People are
It was before that. It was when it was a debate with him and a whole bunch of other dudes.
About the Republican.
That was when Ben Carson was still in the race.
But I'm reading you a quote that he said saying that the minimum wage has to go up. People are at least $10, but it has to go up. But I think that states federal overall at the end of the quote he said, so I would like to raise it to at least $10, which I don't want the minimum wage raised to $10.
He said, I'm
reading you what he just said from PolitiFact.com.
No, but I watched it with
my
eyes. He said the minimum wage is way too high. We need to we need to lower taxes, so forth and so on. You got to find that video. But what I will say is that we don't owe this country anything. We don't owe the national anthem anything. It's very, very weird and strange that you want Black people to stand for an anthem that is racist.
When somebody points a gun at you and you have to call the cops, I would not bother calling the cops if you have this ideology that you don't know the country or anything, because then they don't know you.
I've never dialed 911. I will never dial 911.
Why?
Whatsoever. Why? Because when my cousin, I just told you, because when my cousin dialed 911, when a guy stole her purse out of a convenience store, He tried to put her in handcuffs, 8 months pregnant, her hands behind her back. She could not do it physiologically.
That's not the story you just told me. You just said that you guys were walking down the street and the cop was trying to handcuff her, and you grabbed his arm, and then she ate you.
No, I said a cop was trying to handcuff her. I'll tell you the full, complete story.
But that's not what you said. You said you were walking down the street.
No, I told you. I said a cop tried to handcuff her, and I tried to say that when cops are having a bad day, you're gonna get the sorry end of it. But I'll tell you the complete story if you want me to tell you the complete story. We were going up to the convenience store, didn't want to drive the car because whatever. Going up to the convenience store to get my granddaddy some cigarettes. Got him some cigarettes. Somebody stole her purse. She called the cops. I told her not to. The guy was already gone. What the fuck is the cop gonna do? He's not gonna do anything. Tried to ask her for her ID. She said, "Why do you need my ID when somebody stole my purse? I don't even have my why are you trying to hassle me and get my identification when I'm telling you what happened?" And then escalated from there. He tried to put her hands behind her back.
Instead of being compliant, she had to make a whole big deal out of it because she just didn't want to tell him who she was.
She told him who she was. He kept asking for her ID after her purse was stolen. Do you understand? Her purse was stolen. Do you understand? Her purse was stolen. He kept asking her for her ID. He said, "I can't help you if I don't have your ID." She said, "I'm telling you who I am. I'm telling you all my information that's on my ID." He said, "Where's your ID?" He just kept being, he's a real asshole, is what he was. So he tried to put her hands behind her back because she was getting upset. She's pregnant, obviously. She's skinny like me. She's big old belly. Tried to put her hands behind her back. She cannot do it. When you're pregnant like that, it literally, you cannot do that. Your belly is the biggest form on your body. I tried to grab his arm because he's manhandling my pregnant cousin just to tell him to calm down, and I get tased. My cousin is put in the back of the cop car with handcuffs behind her back.
All over the news if a cop just grabbed a pregnant woman, threw her on the cop car, and then turned around and tased you for grabbing his arm.
It was an article on ABC 11. You can look it up. I might.
ABC 11. What's her name?
I don't want to give you all that.
You don't want to give me your name?
Okay, I'll give you her name. Her last name is Rhodes. See if you can find it. But
ABC 11. Is it in Raleigh? No, man tried to. No, pregnant. You're saying that it's on ABC 11, but I'm not seeing anything of that. So, I can't sit here and assume that you were just completely mishandled by the police because I've never seen that, and my black friends who have had run-ins with the police have never had that kind of experience. So, was that it? I'm assuming that that's it since she left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.